Hello, people. How's it going? This is actually going to be a part one. The first part I'm going to do on books I'm recommending is just the overall battle. The overall battle. Not individuals, but also for one. Overall battle. Of course, I live here, so naturally, first Minnesota. The smoke had just cleared from the last volley of musketry at Gettysburg. Nearly 70% of the 1st Minnesota Regiment lay dead or dying on the field. One of the greatest losses of any unit engaged in the Civil War. Pale Horse at Plum Run is the study of a single regiment at this crucial moment in American history. Though painstakingly researched as first-hand accounts, eyewitness reports, and official records, Briley Hand constructs a narrative remarkable for its attention to detail and careful reportage. Words of the first heroic act at Gettysburg spread quickly among the Union lines and back to Minnesota. Their stand late on July 2nd, 1863, stopped a furious rebel assault and saved the day for the Union. Emerging from the chaos of the battle, however, first-hand reports contradicted each other. Confused officers and frightened soldiers told very different stories of this event. Further removed, newspaper correspondents often relied on hearsay and camp gossip for their source of information. All this leads to historical investigation as to what really happened that day. I mean, it's a good book. I mean, it is a narrative action on July 2nd and the 3rd. It's a very good book. If you like Minnesota history, you like Minnesota and the Civil War, this is the second best book you could read. The other one is The Last Full Measure by Richard Moe. But this is a very good book. Excellent book. For any Minnesotans out there, you should read it. And you call yourselves a Minnesotan. You don't. This book, My Enemy, My Brother, Man and Days at Gettysburg. This is more of a overview of the soldiers, the civilians, their interactions, what happened. I haven't read it. I've only read the back. But I'm going to recommend it anyway, because I know who the author is. I know who the author is, so I trust his work. But it looks good, though. This is the story of the Army of the Potomac. This is the complete history of the Army of the Potomac. And of course, I'll talk about Gettysburg, of course. But this is a very good book, because this is one of those authors I really like. I like this author. I like his details. I like how he writes. I like how he gives good information, writes very well, the land, the people, the landscape, the actual battles, this, that, and the other stuff. Excellent book. Excellent. It's big, but it's worth reading. It is worth reading. Very much so. Very much so. I mean, the Army of the Potomac, once it got Meade and then Grant running everything, started winning. Started doing what it should have been doing in the first place. It was so badly commanded the first 3 years of the war. I mean, it really was. From 61, 62, 63, it was very badly commanded until Meade and Grant took over. This is General Lee. This is the Army of Northern Virginia. Same basic difference, just a different army. I have not read this book either. I have read that one. I haven't read this one, but I also know this author too. I like to go by what the author wrote before. I've heard of him and I've heard good things about the book. So that's why, even though I may have read it yet, I will recommend them because they are good. This is a very good book on the Army of Northern Virginia. It's lost. Anyway, now this book I've always found to be the best book of the overall history of the Battle of Gettysburg, of the Gettysburg campaign. I like Stephen W. Sears. He was the first Civil War author I read strictly on a battle first. It was the Battle of Antietam when I first read it. When I first read his first book, Landscape Turned Red, Battle of Antietam. But this book is excellent. This book might be my favorite book of the overall Battle of Gettysburg. Well written, well documented, well everything else I can think of. You want to learn about Gettysburg, this is the book you should start with. This is the very first book you should start with. Even after all those. Unless you're from Minnesota, Pale Horse at Plum Run. That's a law. It's a law here in Minnesota. I think what I'm going to do is the next one, I'm going to do part 2, is going to be people. I mean, like the generals and stuff. I knew I couldn't do all this at one time. It just seemed like too much to me. Now, no Andre Trudeau I have heard of. Another one of those authors I've heard of very good things about, so I'm recommending this book. This is the third day. This is the third. No, that's that one. Never mind. This is The Overall Battle. Another excellent book that I've heard. A lot of times I heard other people recommended books to me, and if they're recommending to me because they know I'm picky, it has to be good. So, this book has maps, sort of. Has drawings more than maps. But let's see. But yeah, it's a big book. It's well written, and I've been told. So I would recommend that book. After the Sears book, of course. After the Pale Horse Up Plum Run, of course. Another Jeffrey Wirt book. Battle of Gettysburg, Day 3. I've read a lot of Wirt books. I mean, I have Wirt's book on Longstreet, Custer, Mosby. Of course, I'm forgetting somebody. Battle of Cedar Creek. The Iron Brigade. He's a good author. He is a very good author. I would recommend this because it's him. Brotherhood of Valor, which is the Iron Brigade and Stonewall Brigade. I mean, it's probably Gettysburg, by the way. Maybe. Is that picture up? Okay. Let's see. Doesn't tell me where that is, but my guess would be it's probably Gettysburg. Because it's not Gettysburg. Anyway, I recommend these books. And want to start, I mean, I know they're big and thick. You can handle it. I'm sure you can. You're adults, for the most part. Unless there are kids watching this, which is fine. But, yes. But I would recommend them if you want to learn about the two different armies that fought at Gettysburg, the overall idea of Gettysburg, the overall battle, the overall campaign, the personalities, the foot soldiers, the generals, and of course this one. I know I'm pushing Minnesota because I live here. But this was the first state that volunteered to fight for the Union, you know. I've already explained that once before. Somebody once thought I was making that up, but I wasn't. This is the first state that fought for the Union. But, I mean, there are some autobiographies of soldiers who fought in Minnesota. I mean, let's see if I can find it real fast. Well, I have notes, but anyway. But the next video I'm going to do will be on people. Those are just big battles, overall scheme of things. Which I figure is enough. Those are the, 7? Yeah, 7. Right, I'm going to do another one in about 30 minutes on people. Well, people, if you think someone would be interested in any of those books, you please share, like, comment, subscribe as well. Behave yourselves, people, because you know I'm not going to. Thank you. And later.